Are you ready?
Hi there, Zam here for NerdTube, as well as No Budget Productions, and I'm here with D Jose and V Man. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Let's do this.
Yeah. All right. So this is a discussion, a debate, a bit of a nostalgia trip, talking about two of the most famous factions of the 90s and the early 2000s. And they are, as you can hear with the music right now, nWo, and what you heard a little bit earlier in DX. Let me slow this tune down a little bit. It's a bit overbearing. Now, those were for me some of the glorious times in wrestling stable history. I'm going to start off maybe a little bit with nWo because for me, they left more of a lasting impression with DX. DX was, for me, just a bunch of guys being really fucking crazy, having the time of their lives, and saying "fuck you" to the man. But nWo at the time when I watched it, it really felt like something like a change was happening in the wrestling industry. First of all, we had the outsiders in Hall and Nash when they came in. Let's just cut this out, yeah?
Yep.
Let's cut this out.
Beaver Boy, cut the music.
Yep, cut the music, exactly. Hall and Nash, they come into WCW. I mean, it just felt like the night before that they were in the WWE. I think.
Well, we have to start from the beginning. May 27th, 1996. Scott Hall walks down the aisle, and Bischoff told him, like, when he got there, he's like, dude, I know you're a backstage politician. I know you have caused some shit, and you've done some controversial things. And I'm going to tell you now, we don't want it here. We don't want you being a problem child. And Scott Hall, when he had his head on straight, and when he, was sober, and when he could do what he needed to do, he was a brilliant wrestling mind for a guy his time. And he walked that aisle while a match was going on. And people got hot about that because it was like, you're going to interrupt a match while it's actually happening. He didn't beat the guys up. He didn't do anything. He just came through the crowd, was like, give me a mic. And he was like, yo, you people know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And I got a challenge for Scheme Gene, for the Nacho Man, for the Stinger, and we are going to tear shit up. And then I want to say about a month later, Nash comes in, and Scott Hall, after like 3-4 weeks of saying, like, I'm going to bring somebody else in here, and Nash shows up at the commentating table, grabs Bischoff, and he's like, now he's been telling you for the past like 2-3 weeks that he said he was going to bring somebody out here. I'm here, and we're going to fuck shit up. And that was basically the start of the nWo. And then Nash powerbombs Bischoff through a table at the Great American Bash.
I remember that so well. Like here we are, motherfuckers.
Yep.
The good thing about wrestling back in the day is, as opposed to how it is now, is they took their time to do a slow build to tell a story. Whereas as opposed to now, they rush through everything, and they have storylines that take a month where they could stretch it out to be 3, 4, 5 months. And Scott Hall was great, not only a great tactician in the ring, but he was great on the mic. He brought the A game, like you said, when he wasn't drunk or going through the his own personal demons. He was great. Was he ever the Macho Man type level player? Nah, probably not, but I feel like he could have reached that level eventually in WCW. But the thing with him, and the good thing about WCW at the time, was they had those type of people where you didn't need to watch the Macho Mans, you didn't need to watch the Hulk Hogan's and stuff. Like you tuned in to watch the Rey Mysterios, you tuned in to watch the Eddie Guerreros, you tuned in to watch the B levels,
the mid cards, basically. Yeah,
exactly. You didn't you didn't tune in to watch Hulk Hogan all the time. You watched the entire show. And when Scott Hall came down and just talked shit, that's so much of the real life game. They blurred the lines, and that was something that at the time WWF, they really didn't blur the lines. They had the clown guy, I forget his name. Yeah, they had shit like that going on, where you're just like, fuck, man, this is cartoon shit. I think the only cool thing at the time they had going, was kind of the Undertaker. They had Bret Hart, Undertaker, but outside of a few key components, everything else is kind of kids cartoonish shit, you know. And to have Scott Hall come down in kind of street clothes, again, that was kind of unique as well, you know. And the fact that he didn't use the Razor Ramon name, you know, they didn't name them for forever, you know. And when they did,
look at you. They weren't even referring to them by the name. You shouldn't be here. You. That's how they referred to them. They never said that once.
Yeah, they kept alluding to, you know, who are you working for? Oh, you know who. You know, it made us at home. It made those at home, you know, kind of go, oh man, they're going to say it, you know. And they kept alluding to Vince. They kept alluding to those things, but you know, it just made everybody on the edge of their seat. You know, they just kept pushing the boundaries of what was allowed at the time. Because again, at back of the day, you didn't mention the other guy. You didn't acknowledge the other guy. That was not taboo. But again, it was a big fuck you to the WWF, because that's exactly what they were doing.
And it had gotten to the point where Bischoff outright had to ask Hall and Nash, do you work for the WWF? And as a kid, my mind was blown when he said that, because it was like, he mentioned the other guy. He mentioned the WWF. Yeah. I'm like, that's something you don't do. That's like an unwritten rule. You don't mention the competition. But Bischoff didn't give a fuck, because he would give away finishes openly.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you know, I think the only reason he did that was because, you know, Vince was saying, well, they're, you know, obviously they're using the Razor Ramon. Obviously they're using the Diesel. You know, I think the only reason he did that was just to kind of get himself out of the legality issue, you know, because if you say publicly, nope, we're not part of that, you know, then you could say, hey, we're clearly saying that, even though you're alluding to, you know, because you can say, hey, I'm not doing that, but look over here, we're doing that, you know. Bishop's a big asshole that way, you know. He's a douchebag, you know. But you know, it's a way of saving face legally, because you're like, no, he said clearly we're not, you know. But it was
we're not, but we are though. So we're just gonna go with that.
Exactly. You know, and this is all before they even brought out, you know, the big reveal, you know, which. Before you get to the Hulk Hogan thing, you know, before the reveal of the third man at Bash,
we have to poke fun at Dave Meltzer for a minute. Never forget, kids, that Dave Meltzer said that Mabel was going to be the third man in the NWO.
See,
that was a big thing at the time.
Dave Meltzer, he's one of those guys. Like I never give him. You know, he's one of those guys who, you know, he loves to revise history and loves to look back at things, and you know, he's one of those know-it-all, know-nothings. You know, he has credibility for nothing. You know, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people, they love that guy and they live and breathe by him, but I'm like, you know, it's like those scoopers for you know, Spider-Man No Way Home. You know, they say, oh, Tobey Maguire's definitely in it because look at this, you know, small little thing for this and this and Mary Jane's got to be in it. Fuck off, man. Like, I mean, a broken clock is wrong twice a day, you know. So you know,
I get one of the things that kind of broke kayfabe to a degree was what WWE did in response, because Scott Hall is now on WCW. Kevin Nash, you know, a little while later is on WCW. You know, the outsiders are there. And apparently Vince McMahon is saying, well, you know, Razor Ramon and Diesel, they're still on WWE or WWF. And then we get, oh my God, like, what was Vince thinking, man?
They had JR turn heel for no reason. It was like, okay, why are we doing this?
Well, this what annoys me so much. Like, how fucking stupid do you think your audience are that you're going to put this knockoff and fucking pre-fucking Glenn Jacobs Kane as Diesel and fucking Razor Ramon? What fucking stupidity crossed their mind to think that people were not going to know that these weren't the actual fucking guys? I can't believe it.
There's a backstory to that. Okay, so if you guys watch like the WWE Network back in the day and you watch like the Legends of Wrestling with the NWO, when they did that reveal with the fake Razor and Diesel, Hall and Nash were in the truck with the production guys watching Raw while WCW was going on, and they're looking at them while looking at the fake Razor and Diesel, and they got an extra $500,000 for that and another deal memo. And it was like, so y'all did all that shit just to give away more money to Scott and Kevin Nash. showing how incompetent WCW truly was.
Oh, they love to give the money away, dude. Like, I mean, it was they were paying people to not even show up. They were giving out contracts and to people who showed up like maybe once a year to a program that never even aired on TV. Like, Jesus Christ, I wish I got paid to stay home for nothing. But the thing about it is, what's funny about the fake Diesel is up to that point, I think he was a really bad dentist character.
Isaac Yankem. Yep.
Yeah.
I yank him.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to say, Kane played fake Diesel, but it's another when you go back in time and say, wait, this is the dentist guy? Like, what? Like, I mean, what the fuck? Like, I mean, that's really where we were.
Yes.
And then I think, is that just incredible?
That is Rick Bogner.
Okay.
Yeah, fake. Yeah, I'm just having a look regarding fake Razor Ramon. There is a name for him. Yeah, Rick Bogner. Rick Bogner was a Canadian professional wrestler, actor, and motivational speaker, best known as the fake Razor Ramon, who debuted in World Wrestling Federation alongside the fake Diesel in a storyline following the departures of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash from WWF to WCW. He's dead.
Yeah, he passed away.
No, I had no idea. Died 2019.
Yep. Wow,
man. The guy wasn't even 50 years old. Fuck me, man. Another wrestler dying so young. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely. But, here they are, the fakers. I mean, at least, like Glenn Jacobs had a reasonably good career, but to do this, like, you really like wonder what was going through Vince's mind at the time.
He was stressing the fuck out because they were doing something that, I mean, you're pulling talent. He just lost two of his top stars, two of his workhorses. I mean, what are you going to do? You don't know what to do, and you're pulling it. You're grasping at straws. I mean, and at the time, he was losing money. I mean, he couldn't even afford. From what Scott Hall said, he was like, show us, give us something to keep us. It wasn't about the money. It was about, give us something to show you care. They couldn't, and at the time, WWF wasn't making money.
No, they were almost. A lot of people don't realize they were almost out.
Right.
They were literally about to die. That's how close WWF was from going under.
But
it was almost like ECW.
I mean,
that's how close.
I don't get it though. Like, it's still like they're gonna know that the real Razor Ramon and Diesel are on WCW. Like, they know that this is not Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. So I just find it so bizarre that he would even attempt this. This is, for me, Vince thinking that the audience is fucking stupid, and they couldn't tell the difference, and that's how I see it. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys would agree remotely on that, but he always thought the audience was stupid.
In his mind, it's no different than like one of the created wrestlers, where it's like these wrestlers are just it's the different skins. So we just they're just characters. It's not the person, it's the character.
Yeah, it's not the intellectual property. It's like, okay, yeah, it's our gimmick. We own it. We're gonna use it and capitalize it, and make sure that people, know that, okay, we still own these intellectual properties. We still own Razor and Diesel, and we can use them anytime as we see fit. That was Vince's process going into this.
Right. The same thing happened, like for me personally. Like, so I had a guy who invited me to come shoot with him, and I couldn't make the shoot. This was in the early days of the COVID stuff, and I told him, I said, look, man, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel safe. I can't do it. And he was like, well, then I'm just gonna have somebody else play Menard. And I'm like, dude, I really, after like 100 and some film, like, really? That's stupid, dude. Like, no. And he was like, well, anybody can be Menard. Like, these are just fan films. It's like, dude, it's gonna blow up in your face. And it's the same thing here, man. Like, when you think that a character is just anybody could do this, we know now in hindsight that's a stupid idea to have, and people are going to react like that's idiotic. I mean, the fans are going to turn on you. I mean, we know that now. At the time, I think Vince was just like, well, this is mine. I'm going to prove I'm right. And that's Vince. He has nothing but ego. And that's all Vince ever is. And it shows very much now in how he approaches everything. He fires people, ad nauseum, because he doesn't get his way. He's nothing but an ego trip.
He's a man-child. He's a 76-year-old motherfucking man-child. That's
Donald Trump on steroids.
Yeah.
He is 100%.
Like one of the people I think has a good business game is the guy who does I forget his real name, but the guy Triple H.
Yeah.
Like he has somewhat of an ego. Who doesn't? When you have that much money and you've been in the business that long, you know the business though. But I think he has a good sense of the game, no pun intended. But he knows how to raise up new stars and push talent. But for Vince, no, everything's about ego. Because if you look how he did Invasion, fucking stupid. You look how he pushes, the Sting versus the Triple H thing, fucking stupid. You look how he does every single thing where it's like, look,
ECW.
Look how this is going to draw out, and you raise those stars to make the better match instead of, well, I'm going to push my guys over these people. Well, that doesn't draw out matches, and as much as Hulk Hogan, I think, is a whiny bitch as well. He's he knows how to draw money from people, and that's what he's good at doing. Vince is not good at drawing money, So.
Okay, speaking of Hogan, let's get into it. July 7th, 1996. Apart from Bobby Heenan on commentary, this is what I will forever consider the greatest heel turn of all time.
You're not wrong.
Hulk Hogan dropping the leg on Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. And, he proceeds to cut that scathing promo. And, Hogan comes out and he's like, let's be real. If it wasn't for me and the people up north, or if it wasn't for me, you people wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for the people that ran the organization up north, alluding to Vince McMahon and Linda McMahon, you people wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff would still be selling meat out of a meat packing truck in Minnesota. I'm the reason that you guys are here. And me and my friends are going to take over the whole WCW. And the fans that night, if you want to say they got hardcore, they were
throwing shit in the ring, man.
Yeah.
Some fucking Mark came in.
I was just about to mention that. Yep. What you won't see on anything unless you have the original DVD is a fat Mark tries to get into the ring. He slides in the ring, doesn't even make it a quarter of the way in before Nash and Hall are stomping on his neck. That's how pissed they got.
Yeah,
WCW had a lot of run-ins, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
More run-ins than ever, in their short period of time. From fans, that is. Yeah.
It's not uncommon now for them to kind of set up the throw garbage into the ring, especially in the latter days of WCW. Like, they did that shit all the time, and you could tell this is staged. But back then, like, I feel like that night it was real heat. Like, fans were pissed. I feel like the kids,
the hero.
That was legitimate. Like, what? And granted, Hulk Hogan in the WCW days was not as huge as he was.
No, he got booed. He got booed in the back.
Well, because he was seen as the kind of corporate guy, the kind of the sellout per se. They didn't want him there. But when you made that instant heel turn, that was hot. Eventually. But that moment, it's like, what the fuck,
He needed that, by the way.
What's that now?
He needed that heel turn so badly. He was so stale as fuck. And this is what pisses me off about Vince, because just to go a little bit forward and backwards here, he never had the bollocks to fucking turn him heel in the WWE. And the moment he came back in the NWO, within a month, he put him back in the red and yellow again. And started fucking going real American and shit like that. Really fucking pissed me off. He was an excellent heel.
And it was
I didn't like about him. No, sorry, Jose.
Okay, go ahead.
There was times when he went cowardly heel, and that really, really broke me out of that. Hold on, this is the guy who's brave as fuck. Yeah, even when he was a good guy, just because he's bad doesn't mean that he's lost his bravery. You know what I mean? Like, when he's going, oh no, don't hurt me and stuff like that. I know those are heel tactics. It just doesn't work for Hogan, because he's fucking Hogan. You know what I mean? He's the only fucking slams onto the giant and shit. It doesn't work for him. He's just so stupid.
Actually, it could work in 6-man tags. That is when you do that with Hogan. That is when you could pull off the no, don't hurt me, and then you have Hall and Nash just beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah,
that would work
like a decoy. I get you. I get you, but when in the one-on-one matches, I saw him
one-on-one, no, you don't
and
do
stuff like that. I was like, come on, man, this is not the right way to use Hogan as a heel. He should be monster heel.
But the jump ahead, it was Vince's way, and this is another thing about Vince too. Vince has that forceful thing where it's like, you're going to boo and cheer who I tell you to boo and cheer. Yeah. We're not doing this organic shit, and that was why Hogan was brought in the way he was. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, you're
because I want to get back in order. I want to stay on track. So going forward with the NWO, you remember, a couple weeks later when Big Bubba Rogers and Lex Luger, Big Bubba, Big Boss Man, and Lex Luger were having a match. Hall and Nash come out. They beat the fuck out of both guys, and you see the debut of Black and White Hogan, which was so cool.
Yep.
For its time.
And the black stubble.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I love it. With the blonde horseshoe handle moustache and black stubble beard. It worked so fucking well. I loved it.
Yep.
It was such a just playing the video games at the time when you're like, oh, I've got red and yellow Hogan. I got black and white Hogan. Oh my God. Just those two visuals. And it could be the same thing, just the different colors. And you're like, oh my God, this visually tells you everything you need to know about which Hogan do I want to be. Do I want to be good? Do I want to be bad? And that right there, visually, you don't need to know anything else about what you're doing or what game you're playing or which side you're taking. Just visually, you're like, well, good or bad. And that's everything you need to know. And visually, just looking at it, I mean, it tells you everything. And I love the simplicity of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Hogan and Nash and Hall, they start doing work, and Hogan reiterates once again, I'm here, along with my brothers, to destroy WCW, and at Hog Wild, August the 10th, Giant, I'm taking your WCW championship. And we fast forward to that time, that's exactly what he did. Granted, the Giant sold way too fucking long. If you go back and watch the match, he gets hit with the title belt, and he sells that shit for like an hour, and Brutus Beefcake comes out and tries to join the NWO, and they jump him too. In the NWO, they just didn't give a fuck. They took almost everybody out, which was so great for its time. And then the first guys to join the NWO were Ted DiBiase and the Giant himself. And when the Giant turned, it was like, what the hell? The Giant joined the NWO? He joined the NWO? The Dungeon of Doom and the Four Horsemen had aligned together. They tried to take out Hogan. The fans once again got hardcore. The NWO started spray painting people, which was so innovative for its time. It was amazing.
Well, the good thing about the NWO was you had these factions that normally, Hogan or Macho Man or Sting would be fighting, babyfaces versus those heels. You now had, it reinvigorate. Oh my God, I can't speak. It changed, instantly those heels to be babyfaces against, characters that, had not been around or babyfaces that turned heels. It changed the entire dynamic, the entire landscape of everything, because now Ric Flair, who was heel or sometimes babyface and then heel, instant babyface, or the Dungeon of Doom, or Legion of Doom, whatever they were called.
Dungeon of Doom. Yeah, you're right.
They're now babyface going against the NWO because it's like, well, we're going to get behind them. People who you're like, man, I don't really give a shit about this guy, but he's going against the NWO. Well, okay, we got to beat the bad guys. But it also made you root for the NWO somewhat, because you're like, well, they're cool because they're going to kick the crap out of them and spray paint them. It's like you rooted for everybody because it just made it interesting, as opposed to, well, let's flip over WWF. We got Doink the Clown.
And another fact is, too, I don't know if you guys know this, people that night when Giant joined the NWO, they started fighting. The crowd started fighting because the NWO were fighting. That's how over the NWO got, where the crowd started to fight because you had NWO fans fight with WCW fans. That's how real it got.
Oh, wow.
Where it was like, holy shit, you got fans fighting each other now over who's better.
Yeah, no, absolutely fucking crazy. I actually never knew about the fans fighting each other. But I'm not surprised. I'm just scrolling through some pictures here, boys. Here is as close as we're ever gonna get to what we want. Sorry, keep talking, Jose. I'm just gonna pull it up.
Okay, and then we're gonna fast forward to arguably, and this is a tough argument, the greatest transformation of a character ever, from Sting going from Surfer Sting to Crow Sting, and it was arguably the greatest build-up in company history.
No, dude, you absolutely, the build-up. And that's ultimately what brought me back to being a wrestling fan. Because keep in mind, for me personally, I didn't join wrestling again until I think it was 99, 98, late 98, 99. And it was my brother-in-law. He wasn't my brother-in-law at the time, but he was just my best friend. He was like, "Hey man, you watch wrestling?" I said, "Well, back in the day, you know." And I'm thinking Hulk Hogan, you know, what you gonna do, brother? I'm thinking Surfer, Sting. He said, "Yeah, well, my favorite wrestler is Sting." I'm like, "Oh, I know Sting." He said, "Yeah, well, I'll bring it over now. I'll buy some pizza. We'll watch." I said, "Oh, okay, awesome." He said, "Yeah, we'll catch up." And it was Sting. I think it was Sting Unmasked.
Yep.
And we watched it. It was a VHS tape. We watched it, and I'm like, "What? Hogan's bad? What the fuck is this?" It was, and it showed the Surfer, or it showed the Crow Sting, and at the end of that, it showed Wolfpack Sting.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, things have changed. And that transformation, you know, where they're doing the lead up and Starrcade '97, right there, that was just like, oh my God, that right there, I think gave not only the NWO gave wrestling the shot in the arm, but I think that build up, the Hogan versus Sting, the shot in the arm that wrestling needed, at least WCW, you know.
Yes.
I mean, again, and that's why I say that, you know, we need that type of build-up, not modern wrestling. You know, we just don't tell stories like that anymore, you know.
But yeah, here you go. The
This was
NWO.
very late on in its life, but there we go.
Yep.
As the closest we'll ever get to DX and NWO in the same ring. You know what? Kevin Nash, was he also DX?
No, he never was.
He was Clique.
He was Clique.
All of those guys were Clique except for Hogan. Yeah, all of those guys were. The New Age Outlaws weren't Clique, were they?
No, they were not Clique.
Yeah, it was X-Pac, Triple H,
Shawn and Hunter.
Yeah, and then Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were Clique.
Yep.
Everybody else wasn't. Yeah.
Yep. But okay, yeah,
X-Pac was Clique, no, was he?
Yeah, he was also Clique.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go into War Games '96. Basically, the premise was Sting joined the NWO because he beat up Luger and Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, like all going into War Games. And then they confront him about it. He's like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about? I didn't do this." You go into the match. There is two Stings. There's an NWO Sting and a WCW Sting.
Yeah.
And then Sting is the only one fighting, and he's like, "I told you, motherfuckers, I didn't do this. So you know what? If you guys aren't going to back me, fuck WCW, fuck the NWO. I'm my own man." And that was the start of Crow Sting, which was the coolest thing ever.
Which that blows my mind. I mean, they looked at it and they're like, well, you know, the dentist, you know, the dentist Diesel got away with in this work, so let's make our own fake Sting. You know, I don't get that. You know,
it worked in a way because you still had the original Sting. You know, like, but they've done this fake, you know, like they've done a fake Undertaker, they've done a fake Kane.
Yep.
You know, they've done these sort of like impersonator angles before, but my only issue with Crow Sting is that I wish he kind of went back to Surfer Dude Sting at some point in his later career, just to remind us of who he used to be, this outgoing personality, because you know there's a lot of personality in Sting, and he kind of suppressed it when he was Crow Sting.
Well, in a sense, Jeff Jarrett did to kind of try to remind him of who he used to be. They did that in TNA, I think it was, or
yeah. He was very much like a hybrid in TNA. Like he was very vocal, but he still had the black and white. You know, and it's funny in a way because black and white are NWO's colors, and they became Sting colors as well, but they were on different sides. And when I was watching this, I was so engrossed as a kid watching this, but this is before I knew what that wrestling was fake, because I bought into all of that shit back then.
We all did.
And I'm thinking to myself, who's going to stop this? Who's going to be our hero? You know what I mean? And it was supposed to be Sting. And this storyline between Hogan and Sting went a whole fucking year, you know, which was unbelievable. Never really paid off, in my opinion.
No. Yeah, let's. If you want to go, if you want to go there, let's go there. Yeah.
It just seemed that, you know, like NWO was recruiting everybody, like anybody and everybody was joining the fucking NWO, and even the heels, they were like, hold on, like, you know, we're the bad guys, yet we're coming across as good guys now because we're not part of the NWO. Some of the heels that didn't join them, that is, and they were joining forces with the faces who were battling the NWO, which was it was fascinating to see all of this sort of shit. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you know, people, you know, you're putting their differences aside to fight this great evil, this monstrosity that is the NWO, just vacuum cleaning everything. You know, and all the people you thought you could rely on ended up joining the NWO, even Savage. You know what I mean? This guy got fucked over, and now he's in the NWO himself. Like, what the fuck
I am gonna say though, the only thing positive about '97 before the beginning of the end, if you guys have not seen DDP versus Randy Savage matches, you need to see those matches. Oh my God!
Oh yeah,
DDP versus Randy Savage is some of the most amazing stuff you'll ever see from that year.
Oh yeah,
not bad for a middle-aged rookie as well in DDP.
No,
you know, he actually said, you know, just going on a tangent here, he said that when he would walk backstage, people never like asked him for his ID and stuff because, you know, he was like 6'7", built like a brick shithouse. They just immediately thought he was a wrestler.
Yep.
You know, and I actually thought he was a wrestler who just did commentary and stuff like that. But no, he just got into the game really fucking late, and he was a natural.
Mm-hmm.
He really was. He was a natural, not bad. And I'm really happy to see what he's doing with his life now, repairing, you know, broken souls in wrestlers like Jake Roberts and Scott Hall and putting them back on the right track. You know, all credit to him.
Yep. But okay, let's get into it because we've spent about a half hour on the NWO. Okay, Starrcade '97. Let's do this. Coming off of Montreal, Bret Hart gets screwed over. We're going to get into that too, I'm pretty sure, with the DX side of this thing. But Bret Hart gets fucked over, and his first role is to be brought in as a referee, which I'll rant about that later.
Yeah, fucking stupid, yeah.
But, okay, can either one of you name me the greatest move in wrestling history? I guarantee you, both of you won't figure out what it is.
Well, I liked, there's a few, you know, like the Vertebreakers are one of my personal favorites. I love the fucking Canadian Destroyer, and I also love Scott Hall's sort of like suplex into some sort of reverse tombstone. I'm a big fan of that.
Okay,
Scott Steiner.
I want to hear V-Man's greatest finishers in wrestling history.
Finger poke of doom.
That one's my second. Okay, the greatest finishing move in the history of the business. That doesn't work for me, brother. Is the greatest finishing move in the history of the business. Hulk Hogan decides to play his political control card, proceeding to fuck everything up instead of having Sting do the death drop 1, 2, 3 in the middle. Hogan drops the leg on Sting, and Nick Patrick counts normally, and Bret Hart stops the bell from ringing, and then the match continues.
Yeah.
And then Hogan taps out to the deathlock, devaluing Sting, making the win not really mean anything. And that, to me, was the beginning of the end of WCW. I know we're going to get into the finger poke of doom and other stuff, but that, to me, was when I noticed they started going off the rails.
Yeah, the thing is, and I know that he has the creative control card. I think it's horse shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one of those things where it's like, you really need to let the writers determine, not the wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one thing to let them have a little bit of say in how they do things, but not the finish.
Yeah.
You know, because again, when you have a story line that you're doing and you're going a way that you're going, let them tell their fucking story. And when you meddle in shit like that, you know, the first time I watched that match, I was like, wait, what? Because when you go back to that count, it wasn't a fast count. So, and then when J.J. Dillon comes up and says, you know, we watched it, you know, forwards, backwards, all this, you know, we're going to hold the title up. It's like, well, the rematch doesn't mean shit because it's like they fucked it around the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's what's the point? You know, again, that should have been the climax. Now let's do something different. You know, we're good, you know, and, you know, it was pointless.
Okay. Do we want to stay on NWO and get to the demise of NWO, or do we want to switch to DX?
I think we need to switch to DX.
Okay, and then we'll get to the demise of NWO and DX toward the end. Okay, so Degeneration X. We're going back to 1996 with the curtain call with Scott, Kevin, Hunter, and Sean in the ring in the cage in Madison Square Garden. They hug. They break kayfabe, the death of kayfabe, according to the old timers, because that's something you don't do. And then you fast forward to SummerSlam 97. Shawn Michaels turns heel. He and Triple H start teaming up because they kept pestering Vince. Hey, you got to put us together. You got to put us together. We want to work. We want to work. Vince didn't want to put them together, but he did it anyway against Mankind and The Undertaker in a tag match. And we thought it was just going to be a one-off. And then they introduced Chyna, who, holy crap, Chyna, for a woman her size, being as credible as she was, she could actually beat up a man. That's how intimidating she came across.
Ragdolling Terry Runnels was like iconic, still to this day.
Yeah, still to this day. And, you know, you have DX versus The Undertaker and the debut of Kane and all kind of shit going on at the same time, starting Degeneration X. And then October 97 is when they make that speech. Degeneration X, is that us? You make the rules. We break them, and holy shit, DX was born.
Was this DX came after NWO? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So do you think this was an answer to NWO?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Because you have the other two members of the clique.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had the two members that I think it was to be as appealing as what the NWO was being. You know, you have the other two members of the kayfabe incident. You have personally, I think it was Vince's response to, hey, when your contract is, come back over and you can play with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you've got the money, but you know, if it's not really about the money, come back over and play with us. You know, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's what Scott Hall made it seem like.
Had it not been for those deal memos, they would have, because they signed those 5-year deal memos when they did the fake Razor, fake Diesel thing that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And then, okay, getting into DX, should we get into Montreal? Because I feel that Montreal plays a big part in this, because it's going to intertwine with NWO, inevitably.
If you want.
Okay, so Montreal. Brett and Sean, I think, and this is a hot take, and I don't know if either of you will agree with this, I think all three gentlemen were in the wrong. Brett, Sean, and Vince could have all handled this situation a lot better than they did. I think.
I just think that after the match, Vince doesn't have to, like, Bret Hart is only a fucking champion on telly.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he goes backstage, just take the fucking belt off him. There's no chance of him. There's no worry about him going to
WCW with the belt.
Yeah, with the belt. Like, obviously, I think he had flashbacks of Medusa and what she famously did. You know, but that's probably what he was worried about. But
let's also call it what it is too. Ric Flair, about 5 or 6 years before, showed up as the real world's champion. Vince did that, so it's like, dude, how can you expect not to get your payback? I mean, you did it to them first. You stole their world champion with their belt. You did that first. And then, so Montreal, all three guys, I think, are in the wrong. Brett and Sean didn't want a job to each other. The finish goes down. You know, we can also break that down as a nostalgia topic. But the finish goes down. Sean, leaves all pissed off and blah, 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 blah. Then the whole next night, NWO, the entire NWO, comes out with Canadian flags, and they address Bret Hart by name, and Bischoff alludes to Bret Hart knocking out Vince McMahon by being like, yeah, you're a knockout kind of guy, because Vince showed up with that shiner on his face the very next week, doing that whole, like, oh, before you leave, you're supposed to drop the belt. All that kind of shit.
It's things like this which kind of, put the sort of iron grip on wrestlers today, because nowadays, like, wrestlers don't have the sort of leeway and the sort of input, like people like Shawn and Brett had. They were able to control things to a degree. Vince would never let that happen nowadays. Apart from maybe John Cena, who's like the last of the last, maybe a bit of Batista as well. There's not really many wrestlers from a while back who has any sort of credibility or control. I don't even think Seth Rollins doesn't. The moment he was caught fucking doing drugs, they jumped the fuck out of him. Not Seth Rollins, sorry, Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, yeah.
You know, they jumped the fuck out of him for a little while. When he failed a few wellness policies and stuff like that. So yeah, Vince will never let that happen again. But, you know, I think creative control to wrestlers is very important. You want them to feel a part of the company. But I personally would have believed in Brett. He should have, you know, I believe Brett would have been honorable. You know, he's not. Yeah, he doesn't come across like Shawn Michaels, which is why him and Shawn Michaels were always conflicted, because Shawn Michaels really was somebody who was a bit of an arsehole in his first stint in the WWE as a singles wrestler. Obviously, he changed when he came back to a degree, especially in his latter years on his second stint. But
my thing is why didn't you think to take the fucking belt off of Brett before you freed him up to go to WCW?
That's what I'm saying. You should have done that.
Why didn't you play stupid? You know, you could have done that. But okay, with D-Generation X, Shawn becomes the champion, and then we start to see the Outlaws kind of coincide with DX. They didn't officially join DX, but they started whooping guys like the LOD and, you know, the Los Boricuas and all the other mid-carders.
You know, a makeshift tag team, dude. You know, you had Billy Gunn, who was, you know, a failure as a smoking guns. You know, he was always going to be. I mean, that guy's been in so many fucking tag teams; it's unreal. You know, but yeah, he was part of that. And then, you know, you had the Road Dogg not really trying to find himself to a degree. And so, yeah, we'll just throw these fuckers together and see what happens. Probably the best thing that ever happened to them. You know, kept Billy Gunn relevant for sure. You know what I mean? And Road Dogg is so good on the mic, man. Never underestimate him. You know what I mean? Never underestimate him. The guy is a fucking verbal genius. Better than I am, actually.
They start to work together and they fuck up the LOD. They powerbomb Animal through a table, which was one of the coolest things I saw at the time. Yeah. And then Shawn got hurt in '98, which kind of led to the brief downfall of DX. But luckily, they started picking themselves up because we fast forward past WrestleMania 14. Sean Waltman, the kid who got fired from WCW by Eric Bischoff with a broken neck, goes back to the WWF. And we were like, holy shit. They got Waltman back. Okay, now I wonder.
Okay, there's the one guy who was in both factions.
Yep.
Actually, it was Waltman. You know what I mean?
X-pac,
Yep. But yeah, the kid comes home, and then during the tag title cage match with the Outlaws versus Cactus Jack and Terry Funk, the Outlaws joined DX, and a lot of people thought, oh yeah, DX are going to be baby faces now. It didn't work that way at first. WWE likes to whitewash their history and make you think that DX went from heel to baby faces instantly. It didn't work like that. It took them up until their feud with Nation of Domination to become baby faces.
Nation of Domination, the poor man's Nation of Islam, the WWE's version of it. It's so fucking stupid. Yeah, you know what I mean, I swear at that time Rock was trying to be like a mixture of fucking, I don't know what, an Elvis. You know what I mean? He reminded me of Elvis for some reason back then with his sideburns and some of his talk as well. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, with DX and the Nation, that's when they became baby faces. And I felt that DX was more like in your face, like fuck you to the man, like we're going to do what we want to do. And their greatest moment to me will always have to be when they invaded WCW. That was the coolest thing they ever did.
Let our people go.
Yep. Let our people go.
Was it a tank, yeah?
No, it was a Jeep.
It was a Jeep, yes.
They tell you it was a tank, but yeah, it was a Jeep.
Because I mean, that's the thing. Like for all the times where Eric, you know, had given away storylines, gave away finishes, and you know, talk shit on Vince. Like when they go right up to your fucking door and they're like, "Hey, knock, knock, knock." Fuck you. We want our people back. You know, that's the moment where it's like, oh man, that's some shit. You know, because that's the equivalent of like, you know, you hear knocking on the door and you kind of peek out the curtain. You're like, shit, the Jehovah's Witnesses are out there. Fuck, I can't answer my door. Like that. Yep. You know, that's some Eric Bischoff shit. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it probably. I remember all of that. I never saw it actually happen at the time. I came across that on some video footage and stuff, but. The fact that you know they kept their doors closed to those guys and never interacted with them was absolutely stupid. Fascinating.
They should have opened it. Yeah, they should have fucking opened it. You know, and the fact that they gave away, like they said on the documentary, like they gave away their plan where they were giving out free tickets, you know, to show that they're full stadium. It's like, man, like they were like, this was full cutthroat back in the day. We don't have that type of stuff now where, I mean, we didn't have the internet back then. Not in the way it is now. I mean, this was still, Netscape.
The social media, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now everything's, you go behind the scenes, you can see all the. I mean, we've got 20 million Dave Meltzers. I think they know it all. Back then we didn't have that. We had the magazines. But I mean, back then you had like 3 or 4 different pro wrestling magazines where everyone was like your WWF versus WCW, versus matches. Who would win in these feuds? And we were all dreaming about those matches. And this would have been the perfect opportunity to just lift up that garage door. Come on in, guys.
Yep.
I mean, how cool was that event? And even Eric had that promo of, hey, we invite Vince to come on down. If I was
Vince, I would have taken it.
Up.
Yep. I would have kicked his ass. Yeah.
Come in there, beat the shit out of dude, how cool would and Eric wouldn't have fucking sued. I mean, this would have been money in both. Man.
Yeah.
This was a great time.
Okay, good. I got another idea. Here's another brilliant idea. The times that WCW could have made money, that could be an entertaining video in and of itself, because all the free shit that they gave away on TV, Goldberg, Hogan on Nitro, should have saved it for pay-per-view. Cost them a big fucking payday. But
that was nothing but Hogan's ego.
Yep. Yeah.
Nothing but Hogan's ego.
But okay, Degeneration X, they start riding high. They got tag team gold. Triple H and The Rock are tearing the house down during the summer of '98 over the Intercontinental title. Helmsley wins the Intercontinental title in an awesome ladder match in Madison Square Garden at SummerSlam '98. Then he gets hurt, and then this is what I was hoping they would have done. I was hoping Shawn would have came back, because I was thinking what they were going to do was at WrestleMania 15, Shawn and Hunter for the right ship to DX, for the ownership of DX. That would have been a cool moment to see, because Triple H would have turned heel anyway, I think. But basically, now we're going to get into the downfall of both sides of NWO and DX, because essentially that's what happened.
Well, I always looked at it with DX as they gave it a shelf life, then they would take it back off the shelf, and give it a nostalgia trip and stuff like that. Whilst they fucking milked the fuck out of NWO.
Okay, we'll go back to
they did not know when to stop, and that was
we'll go back. NWO. Yeah, let's go back to NWO first. We'll wrap it up with them.
So you're exactly right. With DX, they put it on the shelf, and Hunter had his time to reign. I mean, you still have the New Age Outlaws, still talking about DX type stuff.
Ah, Block. What's up, Block?
Hey, what's up, Block?
Hey.
I mean, you had DX. They had the New Age Outlaws, which were still kind of doing the DX, kind of New Age Outlaws type stuff. But with the NWO, they had their feud with the Wolf Pack now, and they stretched that out as much as they could, and then they let that slowly die, and then they went NWO Silver for the 2000s, and it's like what? Like, it was more like Centrum Silver. What the hell are we doing, guys? Like, it was like, I mean, they could have done it right. It's just everybody, everybody felt kind of like a reject of the NWO at this point. It's like they didn't build it properly. They didn't have good wars. And the problem with NWO Black and White versus NWO Red was everybody kept switching sides so many times. You didn't have like 3 or 4 people here with NWO Black and White, and then 3 or 4 people with this, and keep it that way, and fuck everybody else. You had 50 people switching sides constantly. You didn't know who was part of what. What are your thoughts, man?
Just to add that, once they went Wolfpack, I was done.
It was just another wrestling angle by the time the Wolfpack came in.
I was absolutely done. I thought, now I'm not feeling this anymore. Like, this shit should have been put to bed a long time ago, and they were just milking it, and I didn't care. It was really hard to care. Like, you get lost in it as well. Like, so much stuff didn't make sense. You know what I mean? And like, you don't know who's with who anymore. Who's the heel side, who faction, who's the face faction. Or are there a mix of both? It felt so redundant.
Yep.
And I personally didn't like it. I like the colors and stuff like that, but there should only ever be one fucking NWO. You know what I mean? Not all these splinter groups and stuff like that. It's fucking ridiculous. Hated it. Hey,
And for me, the biggest thing was Sting. You had Sting. The motherfucker stayed silent for 18 months, only to join the NWO anyway. Dude, like, no. Like, why? Yeah. You stayed. Go ahead.
I think visually, like the red and black Sting, I think that was great.
Yeah, he looked cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I think that would have been great for like a one night deal or something where it's like, hey, Sting, I need, if Luger was in the Wolfpack and he's like, look, I need a partner, join me for one night. I think to have him come in for that and to have that be the reemergence of the, woo, I'm enthusiastic now, and then have him go back to black and white as enthusiastic. Have that be the reemergence of the emotion, but. And even have him be red and black, but no NWO colors. Like have that be the reason for the change. But I completely agree with you on why have because then you go off into the LWO. Enough to parody at ECW the BWO. And I don't necessarily mind having different factions, but again, when you have many constant members. When by the time you buy their shirt, the members have changed, and you're like, "Fuck, this isn't relevant anymore." I mean that's just a shame. Again, like I said, have 3 or 4 members, and then keep it that way.
And then let's just get into the end of the NWO. January 4th, 99, the end. Hogan feigned his retirement by being like, "Yeah, I'm going to become the president of the United States." Yes, he actually said that. He faked his retirement, and then he comes out of retirement after Kevin Nash beat Goldberg under questionable circumstances.
Yeah, it was fucking bullshit.
Yep. Yeah. And then Hogan and Nash, they stare down each other. The coolest thing about that was the entrances, no lie, all the pyro, all the glitz and glamour. That was the coolest thing about that to happen. And then Hogan and Nash get in the ring, they talk, and then poke. 1, 2, 3, and the funniest thing about that night.
Yes,
the funniest thing about that night is that Scott Steiner couldn't jump worth the damn. If you go back and watch the clips, Scott Steiner could not jump worth the damn when they're all sitting there in the ring celebrating and hugging each other and shit. And then Goldberg comes out, goes through everybody, gets hit by Scott Hall again with the cattle prod, and then they tase him, and then they spray paint him, and he got all pissed off. It was just some of the stupidest and corniest shit ever.
The thing that really, they actually had more groups that, like, when they started going the red and white, and like, when and NWO, and the thing about it is like once you start merging and then breaking up and then cross, like that's where, again, I don't mind the black and white and the red and black. To me, I think that would have been interesting. Again, you want to stretch out. I have no problem with that. But then you merge and then you break apart. And then at that point, it's just like, God damn it, dude. Like that at that point, you've lost me. Yeah, because it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you stretch it out way too damn long. And then
that's what the finger poke of doom, like that night, like everyone talks about the finger poke of doom, but for me, I'm like, but that's when they merged again.
Yep. They brought everybody together. And then the end of the NWO came when because I don't think I was watching during this time. I think the Spring Stampede happened and Hogan got hurt. I think he busted up his leg and he started showing signs of a face turn. And then it was like the NWO just broke up for no reason. Like no payoff, no nothing. They just split up. And it was like Starrcade 97 could have been the end of it. Yeah. But they stretched it for way too long.
Well, I mean, and at that point you had, and this is what got me. Like at the time, if you remember, they would talk about, the NWO A team, the NWO B team. Like, again, if you have that many members that you have to call it, Zam, I'm going to tell you this: if you ever have Nerd 2 A team and Nerd 2 B team, I'm out. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm done.
Or if you ever have like the Nerd 2, or if I ever have like No Budget Productions Roach Pack, I'm gonna be like, So yeah. It was just, let's give it up, guys.
Yeah, and then the NWO, they tried again with that silver NWO, the NWO 2000.
Fuck, man, and that was with Bret Hart.
Yep.
And Jeff Jarrett, of all people, slap nuts. Like, fuck off, dude. Like, fuck it. Fuck off, dude. Like, oh my God. I hate you. Like, and he had those goddamn glasses. Those fucking, the ones where it's like, don't you wear those when you're like soldering shit or something? Like, why are you wearing those? Like, what? I hate, like, and he wore those like really tight shorts. Like, I felt awkward watching those because like whenever he'd wrestle, I'm like, dude, like one, you're people over the head with the guitar and they fall down, and then you wear those boy shorts and your catchphrase is slap nuts, and I know your nuts are going in his face. Like, you're just an awkward wrestler. Like, stop.
Okay, and then to fully wrap up NWO before we get to DX, let's just go ahead and go there and fast forward to 2002. Most of the people within the company were vehement against the NWO coming back, but the one guy that runs the company gave it his say-so. He's like, I don't give a damn. It's my company. They're coming back. Go ahead.
No, dude, I was fanboying out. I was like, when he turns around and he's like, if anyone's going to kill the company, I'm going to do it. He turns around. He's like, the NWO.
Remind me, like, I remember, like, the way Vince McMahon was talking, he almost sounded like he was going to cough up a hairball. Yeah, the whole time he was doing it, yeah. But I forgot what made him want to kill his own company.
Ric Flair. Okay, going back, Survivor Series, the invasion angle, which, oh my God. They completely fucked it up from the get-go. It was all about the McMahons to start with. Again. And then Ric Flair's like, I bought stock in the WCW Alliance fucking gimmick thingy, and I can't stand Ric Flair. I hate him because reasons. Never quite explained. And that's why he said, like, I'm going to kill the WWF because I can't have Ric Flair and me coexist in the same company.
Because Ric Flair has a better strut than Vince does.
Yep. Yeah,
Vince has got this going in it, and Flair's this. So yeah.
And I can't coexist with this motherfucker. So either he's got to go, or I'm going to take the whole company out with the NWO. You bring in the NWO, and the coolest thing about that was the 3-on-2 tag match where you actually got to see Hogan and Austin wrestle each other for a few seconds. That's something that not a lot of people remember.
Did they never wrestle each other in WCW?
No.
Nope.
He wouldn't. Hogan would not give Austin time because Austin wasn't anybody.
Yeah,
I know that, but I thought, like, did he not, like, bury him or something like that? No?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, but Hogan and Austin got to work a brief handicap tag match together for a few seconds, and that was it. And then WrestleMania 18, Hogan rocked. The crowd made that match. I don't care what anyone says.
But just before we get there, I remember when the NWO finally comes, they come into the WWE, and they're cutting promos, and then I think the third person to cut a promo was Hogan.
Yeah.
And he was just part of this group at the time. But people remembered, this is fucking Hulk Hogan. Yeah. And he was still a big deal. And I thoroughly enjoyed, and then obviously we cut into the feud with The Rock, but I thoroughly enjoyed that feud. It was a really good one. Like, he goes, why don't you go one-on-one with the great one? That was fucking amazing. I fucking marked out. And it's such a shame that, Austin, who was just starting to descend a little bit at that particular time, because after WrestleMania 17, in my opinion, it was downhill for Austin.
Yes.
Not downhill in the sense that he peaked at WrestleMania 17, whilst The Rock had yet to reach his peak. And it was unfortunate that he had to have a feud with fucking Scott Hall. Yeah, it seems so redundant. Kevin Nash would have been the better option, but was he injured?
Nash I think was hurt at the time.
It's probably a shame because Scott Hall was nobody, man. Like, he was a nobody in the WWE, So like for him to have a match with Austin, I think Vince wanted Austin to do the job for Scott Hall, and I think Austin said no. I believe.
I think what it was Hogan and Austin. Somebody will correct me out there, but Hogan and Austin had that, I think, professional dislike of each other, because both of them had that king shit attitude. Because Austin was a big enough name where he could say no to Vince McMahon, and Hogan, we all know how he operates. That doesn't work for me, brother. That's why Hogan and Austin could never work against each other, because both had that same mentality of
So did Hogan ever Hulk up when he was in the NWO and WCW?
Toward the end, yeah, with his face turn, he tried.
Yeah,
he
that's when
started.
but as a heel.
As a heel, no, he never did that.
That's crazy that they didn't fucking implement that even as a heel, because that's part of who he is. Yeah, that's what I've always pisses me off. Just because you turn bad guy doesn't mean that you use some of who you are. And I love the fact that he hulked up when he was a heel.
Yeah.
In that match with
The Rock.
I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked that he fucking lost to the fucking. You talk about the finger poke of Doom. I look at the elbow drop of Doom. I'm not a fan of the fucking rock. The people's elbow. I think it's one of the most stupidest finishes of all time.
The biggest pop, the biggest pop you'll ever hear is when Hogan and Rock grapple for the first time in WrestleMania 17. I think it was 18. 18, yeah. And Hogan and they go back and forth, and then Hogan just fucking throws the Rock.
Yeah, and Rock looked at him like, motherfucker.
Yeah, he and Rock's just looking up like, oh shit. And Hogan was and the
what
crowd
was the main event?
Fucking goes crazy. No, it wasn't the main event.
No, what was the main event of 18?
Triple H versus Jericho.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And here's the thing. They didn't want that to be the main event because they knew they weren't following it. They were like, dude, we're not following Hogan Rock. Nothing is touching this. Like, this is the main event.
No,
that's the funny thing, because when you have a mid-match at Mania, rocking the fucking crowd like it does, then the main event will never surpass it, unfortunately. Same goes with with WrestleMania 25 with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker.
Yeah, you had Triple H and Orton try to follow it, and just it wasn't going to happen.
Or anything with Triple H in the main event, it's never going to follow any fucking. This is the thing. Like, this is where Vince, went full on nepotism. Like, you can't follow any match. Bigger match in the mid. Well, when I say the mid card, I mean the card of the night. Yeah. With a Triple H as the main event, but it's just not going to fucking happen. You know what I mean? It's just no one's going to buy into it. Even Vince should have fucking known that.
The best thing about 2002, and this is going back just a little bit. Go back to No Way Out of 2002. The best thing, because again, I was so happy about, man, we're going to get the NWO back. This is going to be great, because you botched Invasion, you botched the ECW, and WCW. Like,
they cannot fuck up the NWO. There's no possible way.
The best thing was at the end of No Way Out 2002. We had the NWO come out. It went black and white. The three members come out. They do their mic work. Huge pop. The couple of interviews they interviewed with Rock. They interviewed with Stone Cold. They interviewed with Triple H. It was great. You felt the energy. And then at the end, they fucking do the run in, and they attack. Yeah. Was it Austin? I think it was. Yeah,
they attack Austin during his title match with Jericho.
And you hear one of the kids in the crowd, a young kid,
get the spray paint. He knew, and I was like, "Yes, sorry."
Yeah, me too. I was too, and I was like, "Fuck it!" That told everything you needed to know about this. The crowd, the audience, they were behind this angle. So by the time you get to WrestleMania, when Hogan offers his hand, I was like, "Fucking hit him! Fucking hit him!
Yep.
Fucking hit him!" Because to me, that's the only way to redeem that. And then that was it. And I was like, what? And I knew at that point, I was like, the NWO's dead.
Yep, they died right there. And I am going to give them credit for this idea, though, because it did lead to the greatest return of the 2000s when Shawn came back. That was the one positive about the NWO. And that was
Michael, it. But he took over. He was never going to be.
He was never going to leave the NWO. But...
Actually, I forgot. Shawn Michaels was in both factions as well.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
I don't really count. I don't really count that bullshit segment he had in WWE, but he was never part of it in WCW, which is really where it matters. But nevertheless, it just felt like a shoe-in. You know what I mean, shoehorning in, to be more precise. It just didn't feel authentic, organic, nothing. It's like, okay, Hogan's gone now. We need another big superstar. But as big a superstar as Shawn Michaels is, he'll never be Hulk Hogan, unfortunately.
I think the thing about it was I feel like he was, because I feel like they brought him in because it was like, okay, he's part of the clique.
Mm-hmm.
And when he says, like when he kicks Booker T out of the NWO,
you're the problem. Yep.
Yeah. And he's like, nobody will ever take the spotlight away from the NWO again, which is ironic because I think they cancel it like the next week,
Well, because a lot of people, they were going to bring Triple H into the NWO originally, I had heard, in 2002. And it was, even that was a holy shit moment, because it was like, oh, okay, it's the WWE NWO, but it's past that. It's the clique. I'm like, you're going to have the clique as an actual faction, which would have been, I would have popped for that.
Fuck yes. And that's why, like, I love the fact that Shawn Michaels was part of the NWO. Like, I loved it because, he's sitting there cleaning house. Because, like, I really think he would, like, I think he would have taken the Giant out because Giant was worthless as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do anything. He was sitting there, so, I mean, he's sitting there cleaning house, making room for Triple H. I think it would have been great. And it's sad that Scott Hall really only had that one, great match. Like, it's sad that his demons carried him. And that's why, like you were talking earlier about Diamond Dallas Page helping these guys, fix themselves. Because it's like, I really felt like Scott Hall getting that redemption here. I felt when he was on his A game, he was on his A game. And he did really great on the mic, in the ring. I loved his match with Austin here.
But for me, look, I mean, as much as Shawn Michaels coming in was maybe a good replacement, so to speak, for Hogan, it just never was the same. Like, Hogan is the embodiment of the NWO, and with him not being there, and him going all fucking yellow and red, howdy doody brother and all that sort of shit. I hated the fact that he turned face so quickly. I could see between the lines. I knew Hogan wanted to fucking go real. I knew Vince McMahon wanted him back to old ways when he had him, real American, selling shirts galore. You know what I mean? And I fucking hate. It still gets me angry to this day that I really wanted a decent heel run in the WWE for fucking Hulk Hogan, and we never got it, and it pisses me off. Yeah, still to this day. He's a good heel. He's a very good heel. Terry Boulders, he's a fucking good heel, man. Yep. So, before he was a heel before he became, he was a heel for predominantly most of his career before he became the Hulkster.
Yep.
He was always a heel. He was a big muscular guy who fucking bullied people and shit like that. I'm just pissed off that he never got another run. It would have been fantastic. I would have loved it.
They needed to remember that the same guy who's sitting there shaking the Rock's hand is the same guy that hit you with the semi-truck. And as much as I respect the two of you, if you ever fucking hit me with the semi-truck,
we're done. It's like, it's over.
Yep. I mean, hell, if you throw a rock at my head, I think I'm probably gonna be like, I'm gonna bow out.
I'm out.
Yeah. So.
But okay, with the NWO, basically, it just all that happened was Kevin Nash tore his quad in a tag match, and then Vince literally broke up the NWO the next week, and that was it. Yep.
Yeah, Vince McMahon actually, did he say it on ACW?
No, he on Raw the next week, he came out to the NWO music, and he's like, this is it, the NWO's dead, and that's it. And then to intertwine with DX, let's fast forward, Triple H betrays DX in 99. They go on again, off again. The McMahon Helmsley. Yep, the McMahon Helmsley regime. The McMahon Helmsley regime happens where you have Vince and DX and all them all together. They rule 2000, and they break up because reasons, I guess, never quite explained. And
but back then, like Shawn Michaels, they weren't really officially DX. Like,
no,
Shawn Michaels has came back. He hasn't even come back from. He hasn't officially said he's come back from injury. He just has this angle with Triple H.
I was getting to that. I was going to get to that.
I'm sorry, but you don't mind if I bring it up though. Yeah. Like Triple H has come back from injury now. He's full on face because he's come back from a massive quad injury. And So he's faced for a little while, but everyone knows he's better as a heel, and so they need to turn him heel, and that's when he beats the fuck out of Shawn Michaels. And it's funny because he's doing the investigation, and you find out, once the camera is no longer pixelated, that it was him or it was Triple H all along.
It was a rare double heel turn in one night. That's what they managed to accomplish, because Triple H went from heel to baby back to heel within like a week. And I thought that was an underrated moment. And it led to Triple H's greatest feud that he ever had against Shawn Michaels. It lasted like a couple years.
Shawn Michaels came back. I remember those horrible brown tights he wore. Was it a cage match he had?
The Elimination Chamber, the very first one.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
And the very first one. And he was a bit rusty, but it was an okay match. But when he got back into the swing of things, and in my opinion, this was the beginning of the best period of his wrestling.
Undoubtedly.
He wasn't as bulky as well. Like you look at him, when he was the pretty boy heartbreak kid. He was quite physical. You know what I mean? He looked a lot more athletic on his second stint in the WWE for sure.
Yep. And then LWO for the win. Yeah.
Yeah.
The LWO. But okay. Getting into DX, Shawn and Triple H have their squabble for about a year and a half, leading to the end of the Hell in a Cell, which was fucking the longest Hell in a Cell. I thought it was never going to end. Triple H finally beats Shawn Michaels, and then they bring back the Kitty DX, which I did not like at all. I was
with the fucking glow sticks.
Yep.
The thing that I loved when it was 2002 when both him and Hunter come out to the DX music. After the NWO was taken away.
Yeah.
And you hear the DX. And that pop. That was super huge. Because I think all the fans who were kind of like, bummed out about NWO leaving. We hearing the DX music, you're like, fuck yes, finally something, yes. And then when Hunter turns on him, it was so heartbreaking because you're like, God damn it, no.
And did you notice too that when he goes to do the pedigree, Shawn jumped prematurely? Yeah. That's why it looked so weird the way it did. Because Shawn jumped.
Well, I know that he dies. He looks right into the. He dives right into the. It's like really that's where I was. Oh man, but wrestling's not real as opposed to what we believe when we're.
Yep.
But it was one of those things where it's like I love hearing the pop of the crowd. And that's I get so excited about those factions because it's like, yes, this is a great time to be alive, and then they do shit like that, and I hate turns like that because it's like that. I don't like that. But you guys talking about the little kitty, DX that we get later on, it's never the same.
No, you can't.
We started getting PG though, didn't we?
Yeah, because
it's a different era.
Yeah, because
Eddie died, Benoit died. Things had. Linda McMahon was becoming a politician.
Yeah,
they changed. They were changing their image.
It was basically DX in name only. That's how I like to look at DX toward the end. And then basically, if we're going to bring this video to a close, we fast forward to 2015, the feud that was, God, honestly, maybe about 10, maybe arguably 15 years too
I remember
late.
Certain things like when they gave Vince McMahon a stink face on Big Show's ass.
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad. But at the same time, Vince McMahon, he just all of a sudden says, you know what, we'll have DX for one night only. You remember that on Raw?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? I know you're the boss and shit, but they're supposed to be the rebels, and now you're going to make it a one night only? What the? It's just so stupid stuff like that.
Thing about it is, don't get me wrong. Like shirts like this. I've got this one. I've got the one where both of them are cartoon characters going like that. I love the merchandise that they have. The problem with it is you have the super heavy Christian Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, because he was born again and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, okay.
And I hope I don't offend any Christians out there. That's not my angle. So please don't take offense to this. But if your character on television is a rebel who does not give a shit, it's hard to manage the two.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've got the other guy who's doing the same thing and is like, fuck them, fuck all these people, fuck that. It's hard for you to look at your partner and go, earmuffs. Oh, I'm still a rebel. Like,
no, but he's also like, I'm a sexy boy. He's still got that shit going, you know.
Yeah.
Even though he's not, like he's like, look at my fucking biceps, girls. Yeah.
And to me, it's one of those things where I don't have a problem if you want to, if you have certain morals that you're like, look, I can't do certain things. Like for me, when I act, I've made a policy of like, I will never kiss another woman, because I don't want my kid watching my films and see dad kissing another woman. Like there's certain things I will not do. So I understand. What's that now?
You just let her die instead.
That's you've seen my exactly. So I understand if you have certain things that hey, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this.
Yep.
But Shawn Michaels, you have not the man, but you have the character that you have to abide by, and you go on earmuffs, Shawn. Oh,
yep.
No, dude, fuck that. You play the goddamn character, man. Don't do that shit. That shit's fucking stupid, and that's really dumb. And so, as a wrestling fan, it's like this isn't DX. This is DX light, and I don't want that. Don't get me wrong. Again, I love the merchandise that you give me because this shit's fucking funny to me.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But the other shit, when you over the top laugh at something in the ring, there's only so many times where you could dunk, green slime on somebody. To me, that's not funny. Or shit that's supposed to be like liquid shit falling on something. Like to me, it's like,
potty humor DX is what it was basically.
Yeah. To me, it's like that makes me roll my eyes in the back of my head worse than Undertaker does. Like, fuck off. Get to what makes DX work, which is you guys cheating to win and you guys doing shit that makes the other team look like dipshits.
I knew it was over when they feuded with the Spirit Squad with the male cheerleaders. That was when I was like, okay, it's over. I'm done. And DX didn't even like they just reunited, and I'm like, you brought DX back for that. I'm out. I'm done.
They had their 1000th show though, so they had the 1000th show, and I remember like Triple H saying, "Wasn't there more of us?"
Yeah, and then they brought back.
It was really for a long time. DX was just fucking. They were a tag team, for a long period, and then obviously the New Age Outlaws came out and stuff, and that was pretty cool. And then they had a really good moment with Damien Sandow, and I thought this was, even though Damien Sandow got the fuck beaten out of him, he held himself really well. Yeah, and I thought this was going to be a really good rub for him, and nothing it should have been a good rub for him, and nothing really materialized from that.
Yeah, they proceeded to bury him, and then that was it.
Well,
Jesus was all dark. Yeah, he definitely was dark. That's for sure. Not blue eyes. Yeah.
That's the thing. The thing is like they shouldn't feel the need to. If you want to expand the roster of DX or whatever, go back to having Road Dogg or Billy Gunn there, like have x-pac come back, like expand it. Don't just be the two people there. Or I'm tired of, like you guys were talking about, the one night only. Like, no, fuck that. Have it start out as that, and then be like, you know what, this was so much fun, we're gonna fucking keep going. Fuck you, Vince. Like,
that would be better.
Have them be that, but again, be like, you know what? Not only are we going to have it more than one night, fuck it, Outlaws. We're gonna invite the Outlaws next week. Fucking join us. Like, get people excited again instead of
put Damien Sandow in your group. You know what I mean? The following week, Sandow, you took it like a man. Be part of this group.
Yeah,
you would have been a duck to water for him. The guy could do anything.
I mean, something that expands the roster for like the next year. I mean, how cool would it be for them to be like, hey, you know what? You get your ass out here, and then you throw them the fucking DX shirt and be like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do this. I got one word for you. Are you ready? Or one for something. Something to get people excited. But it's just like they're relying too much on nostalgia. And I'm sorry, but I'm old at this point, and I'm looking at them going, Jesus Christ, dude! Like, don't Hulk Hogan it where you fucking fall over.
And I think what we're going to do is go ahead and get to the end. WrestleMania 31, 2015. DX and the nWo in name only. I said it. That's right.
You're right.
I said it. Yep.
No, that's not the end. That's not
Okay. Well,
for DX and NWO. For the NWO, it is.
Yeah, for the NWO, it is. For DX, the Hall of Fame is therein. That's what I consider.
The end for DX was DX versus the Brothers of Destruction in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, well, we'll chronological.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and go through all that then.
That was the last match because Shawn Michaels was already fucking retired.
Sorry, okay, for NWO, WrestleMania 31, as fucking crazy as it was basically
stupid, man.
It was basically stupid. Vince always loves to take an opportunity to take a shit on WCW, even long after they're dead.
As well.
Yeah,
he's nostalgic as fuck.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Because I'm fully convinced the only reason Vince brought Sting in was to take the piss out of WCW, despite the fact that they were already dead and been dead for years at that point.
I wish Sting never ever went to the WWE. Yep. It would have been the best thing for him to be the biggest wrestler to never wrestle for that company. And it's a shame that he did. It's a shame that he did. Mm-hmm. You know, just to get fucking buried by Undertaker or Triple H, whoever the fuck it was.
Triple H.
Then the thing about it, storyline wise, for what Sting had and Triple H had nothing to do with DX versus NWO. And for NWO to come out, like, I get that DX came out to help Hunter. Why the hell would NWO come out to help Sting?
Yeah, they never did in the past.
What they should have done is they should have come out and they should have helped DX and be like, you know what? Here's the click, baby. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, Hogan would have helped Hall and Nash, and Hall and Nash would have helped DX. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, that's the click. And how awesome would it have been for all of them to just fucking all up in the fucking same, you know, and that would have made more sense than all of them together. And then, you know, they turn around. Like, to me, I mean, because ultimately you didn't have a feud between them. You know, to me, make it a feud. But if you're not going to, ultimately, what did you serve? Nothing. Nostalgia wasn't served because Sting didn't win.
Yeah, we're just gonna feud, though, could you? You can have a feud though. We've got some over the hill motherfuckers, you know, drug addicts and guys with hip replacements and shit. You know, people reaching pensioner age, guys with fucked up knees. You could never have a feud. You know, it was never going to be worthwhile.
Outside of having what could be questionable, a good picture. I don't even consider it that because I know there's nothing behind the picture. So I mean, you have a good picture of NWO versus DX. I mean, there's nothing behind it. So what was the fucking point? You know, you paid a shit ton of money for nothing. Yeah. You know, it was wasted opportunity. And that's
haggard fucking Scott Hall. You know what I mean? Looking like he just come from the bar before he did the running. You know what I mean? It was awful.
There is going to be an honorable mention I'm going to give, though, going back about a decade before. Hogan and Shawn Michaels in the most comical match I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
That was the shit out of that match. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I love that match. I love that match so much.
Yep, considering that both guys were leaders of DX and NWO respectively, I felt like I had to bring it up. I'm like, yeah, we have to talk about Hogan and Michaels, the most comical build up I've ever seen.
This is the same because this was like, for me, regarding Michaels, when he came back into the WWE, he was a face throughout his entire stint, other than that 1 month where he was a heel. So for the feud with Hulk Hogan,
and I don't even count that.
So good.
I don't even count that.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, but he was super kicking this fucking Larry.
Larry King.
Larry King ripoff. Yeah. I mean, he super kicked him and stuff like that. I loved it so much. It was so fucking good. This bad guy.
For me,
he's so natural at it.
Yep. Yeah. For me, it was when he went to Canada and fucking trolled Canada. And he played Bret Hart's music, and I was like, I'm like, they still haven't gotten over what happened in Montreal.
I always thought that you know, he never really let his religion, you know, implement the wrestling business too much.
Yeah,
but by remaining a face, he did.
Yep.
You know, and I really wanted more of heel Shawn Michaels. He's so good as a fucking heel, and it pisses me off when, for instance, John Cena, even like John Cena, even Hulk Hogan, like these guys can do heel, but because of the sake of merchandise sales, they never let these guys turn heel. It drives me nuts. Like The Rock kind of got forced into a heel turn because the fans were really upset that this guy's in Hollywood all the fucking time. It's fucking ridiculous. These fucking marks. And when we had Rock Hogan too, which was absolutely awful, by the way, he never repeated the magic of the first one.
Nope.
But nevertheless, so anyway, I'm going on a tangent here.
The Rock is a great shit talker, and that's the thing. Like, let them go be them, and just have them have different motivations. Because I mean, when your motivations, like, you're absolutely right. Like when they change their character based on, he's a heel now. No, just have their motivations be different. Like Hulk Hogan, you're right. He should have been hulking up and being like, man, fuck you, I'm gonna rip through your ass. And because I'm a bad guy, fuck it. I want the gold. Fuck you. I'm gonna do whatever I can. Like, have their motivations be different. And that's people in real life, and that's the thing. Like, it makes their victory that much more horrific, and it makes their losses that much more. Okay, you know what? They're still coming after you. I mean, it's like the Borg in Star Trek. It's scary as fuck because hey, we root for them when they're good, and we're terrified when they're bad. That's why Triple H is so good, because he's consistent most of the time. Hogan was not, But go ahead with what you were saying, brother.
All right. So NWO, the end of NWO came at WrestleMania 31. You had all that happen. And I'm still convinced that it was just to take a piss on WCW. And no one can tell me otherwise.
Look, you call it the end of the NWO. As far as I was concerned, they ended long time ago. That was nothing. That was a blink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, I don't even look at that as the NWO. That was the most... you see all these fucking old fuckers doing a run-in. By the time they got there, they probably needed to take a breather. Because the ramp is so fucking long in WrestleMania.
They didn't run. They weren't fat. Like, think about it. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, dude, I could barely get up and walk to the fridge, let alone run down to the fucking fridge. So, like, I mean, these guys took their sweet ass time getting down there. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, go back to 2002. They're sitting there sizing each other up and, whatever. Like, these guys, the only reason why they were sizing each other up is, like, because you need to breathe to get down there. Like, I mean, we're not kidding anybody. You're fucking old. And I get that. But the thing about it is, like, what's that?
They're just like looking like, oh no, look at Triple H. The shock. Like, I'm just gonna wait for these guys to slowly crawl into the ring. You know what I mean? Like, oh god, like you got a junkie, you got to go with bad knees, and you got to go with a bad hip, and all that in their worst year, their aging years, all injury prone as fuck, and you got Triple H like shocked and scared, like, oh god. I was like, oh god, this is so bad.
But this is why I consider, for comedy purposes, that's why I consider it the end of the NWO, because I look at it as a comedy where I'm like, oh, here comes Grandpa.
So it's such a negative. Like, you never really have good endings.
Yep.
Like maybe Shawn Michaels to a degree, but even then he came out of retirement for one match only.
Well, but, let's go there then, because one thing we can all agree on that none of us can disagree with is both started off amazing, but had horrible fucking endings. Like both factions did. That can't be disputed.
Well, it's a bit different. If you want to consider 31 to be the end of the NWO, fair enough. But what happened in Crown Jewel or wherever the fuck it was, it was hilarious.
Yes,
like, that match. We got 4 guys who are pretty much part timers.
Combined age 102. No shit.
No, it was 202.
Oh, 202. Yeah.
202, dude. You're doing them a service, but they're not all like in their 20s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But a combined age of over 200 years old. Yeah.
Shawn Michaels hasn't wrestled for 8 or 9 years. That's almost a fucking decade of not being in the ring, and he's not getting any younger.
And he was bald. He was bald.
I have no problem with that. A lot of people make an issue with that. I wish he cut the hair a long time ago, personally. But I'm totally fine with the bald head. Triple H, he's a part-timer.
Yeah, and he tore his fucking pec in that match.
Undertaker wrestles once a year, if that, or twice a year in this particular case. And Kane's a fucking mayor. You know what I mean? So, like, and Kane's way overweight. You can see he's bloated, man. He looks like he's sweating all the fucking time. You know what I mean? He looks like he's sweating when he's walking down to the fucking ring. He's about to fucking have a heart attack and shit. It's just unbearable. But sorry. But yes, like just watching that match and watching those botches, Kane's mask coming off, them missing everything, and I no idea. I give DX credit. At least they won the fucking match. You know what I mean?
But at what cost, Sam? At what cost?
But these Saudis, they want fucking DX. You be careful what you fucking wish for, Prince Abdullah, what the fucking name is. Yeah, I mean, be careful what you fucking wish for. You might just get it. You know what I mean? We couldn't fucking dig up the court to the Ultimate Warrior, but here we go. Here's a fucking 8 years into his retirement, Shawn fucking Michaels. You know what I mean? And it was hilarious. You talk about the Hogan Shawn Michaels match being hilarious. This was hilarious in a different way. Like these guys were like really like they missed a step big time, man.
Like if you look at it, if you look at it in a so bad it's good way, that's how I kind of look at it. Where it's like
Undertaker was out of shape as well.
Yeah,
he was out of shape. He's got a heaving gut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the one thing that no one can deny is that both of them, if you count 2015 and 2018 respectively, both factions had horrible fucking endings from a comedic perspective because they did. Like Scott Hall trying to do the Razor's Edge and taking a back bump at WrestleMania 31 was kind of hilarious, and then seeing Hogan's old ass try to pepper some guys and they're trying to sell and fucking shake, rattle, and roll around the ring and shit. And then with the Saudi Arabia match, like Kane's mask coming off, Triple H tore his back.
That's the sad thing about these factions started off so strong, and they in NWO where they went off course was they added so many people and they overstayed their welcome. With DX, they did it a little better. They came and went. Like Zam said, they knew when to put it on the shelf and then bring it down from time to time. But in both cases, they overstayed their welcome. And where I feel like both of them could have course corrected and then continued the course was know when to interject new blood and then pass the torch and let them be the new generation of DX. Therefore, you can continue the merchandise and then occasionally bring back Shawn Michaels and then occasionally bring back the Hulk Hogan. Therefore, they're not the ones that are the establishment. Because if you had John Cena ever wear a fucking NWO or DX shirt, I mean, dude, boom, done. That would have sold that next generation. Or Roman Reigns been DX or NWO, boom, done. I mean, one of these powerhouses, boom, done. And let that be the next generation. And then occasionally the old one come in and then continue. We would be in I'm convinced our third generation of NWO or DX, but instead you have to go back to the very beginning because as much as I love Hogan, Hall, and Nash, I don't want to see him anymore.
Well, they had a chance to strike lightning in the bottle for a second time with the Nexus. Yeah, John Cena buried them all. You know what I mean? So there was no chance with that. I mean, the way they came out, with the Nexus and they were ripping shit up, and there's Tony Schiavone getting choked out by Daniel Bryan, on his tie and stuff, which was probably the best thing in hindsight there. Daniel Bryan, even though he got fired. And then to
counter that argument, fucking Hogan and Nash and Waltman are in TNA, and Hogan starts yelling at Nash, talking about like our time is over, it's time for the young guys, and the old guys are still squashing the young guys. It's just like, what kind of shit is this?
Yeah, it's it's one of those things. That's why I think what's that new wrestling promotion, AEW? I think.
Yeah.
They have some interesting stuff. I haven't seen much of it, but what I have seen, I'm like, well, this is definitely not the product that WWE is putting out. Like WWE is a bunch of creative wrestlers. It's copy and paste, and none of them are interesting, and I don't give a fuck about any of them. And knowing how Vince thinks, I'm not interested to return. Now AEW. They look like they have people who are wrestlers or wrestling fans who are writing the stuff who actually put thought into it, and I'd be more inclined to watch the product. And if we were to ever get a wrestling faction again, something that were to be in the vein of NWO or DX, I'm sure it's going to come from them because sadly WWE, I feel like their time is over, but I feel like they have the money behind them to just keep going. Sadly, they're a juggernaut.
Not AG anymore.
Yeah. What's that?
they're not edgy anymore. Like the block he put a link for a promo, 18 minutes long. It just flew by between MJF and
CM Punk.
And
that
CM
shit
Punk.
was great. That shit was
That
great.
was amazing.
What is that now?
CM Punk and MJF.
In the promo, just a promo, them two chatting shit to each other for 18 minutes.
Picture, okay, because if you don't know who MJF is, picture old school Miz from like 10 years ago when he was in the prime of his shit talking. That's who he is.
Can you send me the link after the program?
Yeah, when we're done. Yeah, when we're done. We could probably actually watch it on here because then we'll be done and we won't get copyrighted.
No.
Yeah, okay. All right, but but like I said, regarding the Nexus, there was an opportunity with that when you leave a mark with your opening, like the way Nexus did, you know, with what they do, tearing up the whole fucking place. You have to fucking really work on that. But no, Vince was so desperate to fucking have John Cena bury everybody. Yeah, you know.
And even Cena did it himself. Like Cena, he made the call to go over in that SummerSlam match, and I'm like, no, Nexus needed to win that match, dude. Like, you don't beat the Nexus their first match in as a group. You don't do that. It doesn't work.
Handicap matches and winning and shit like that. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
If you lose your first match, you're not a threat. Why are you a group then? I mean, it's just
like when Brock Lesnar came back and he fucking beat Brock Lesnar after Brock Lesnar destroyed him. You know, cut him open and everything. People thought like Brock Lesnar lost his mind, you know, and then he still beats Brock Lesnar. Like I really thought that damaged Brock Lesnar's return. My opinion.
But I think from a Brock Lesnar perspective, I think from Vince, I think that was his way of testing him to see if he would do business. And I'm like, I don't know if I would have gone at it like that. But
people have this issue with Brock Lesnar that Brock Lesnar sells. Brock Lesnar's always been a good seller. Brock Lesnar's always been a professional.
He's underrated. Yeah,
if you pay him money, he will do, you know, he'll want money. He wants a lot of money. But whatever you pay him, he will fucking do it. And the way people go on about him like he's not fucking a team player. He's a team player as long as you fucking pay him. He doesn't give a fuck if he wins or loses, obviously.
Yeah,
you know,
go back.
He sold for Goldberg, getting squashed by Goldberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think people give Brock Lesnar a hard time, in my opinion.
Yeah, go back and watch. I consider one of Brock's best matches to be Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio from a couple of years ago. As short as it was an awesome fucking match. Because Rey
Mysterio never failed to have a bad match, in my opinion. That's why he's my favorite wrestler. You know, and he never gets enough credit because he's a small guy, you know, in a big man's world. And it always pisses me off that he never gets the credit he deserves. I would love to have seen Mysterio turn heel, but they just never could do it. There's another person they could never put on because he sells masks, he sells T-shirts and stuff like that. He's very inspirational. He's a very lovely man as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would love to have seen Mysterio.
He's just Ray's just too good of a dude. That's the problem. He's too good of a guy.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of the stuff he's done, like with the training. You ever seen Sheamus's training videos?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like him and Mysterio did some training together. Like, man, it's so hard to like there's nothing about Mysterio that you know, and like you see that same thing going on with his son now as well. Yeah, he's just such a likable fucker, isn't he? I love the guy so much. Yeah.
But okay, anything else we want to add before we watch the Punk and MJF thing off camera?
Yeah, we're gonna watch it now, actually, V-Man.
So let's get ready to wrap this up, guys, because we don't want to get taken down. So thank you guys very much for watching.
Oh, you okay with that, V-Man?
Oh well, I have to dip out here in a little bit. Are we watching it on camera or off camera?
Off camera, because we don't want to get taken down.
Oh, sure. Well, before we go, so who do we think would win between an actual DX and NWO fight?
Got Hulk Hogan there. It's going to be the NWO.
It's going to be the NWO because of the greatest move in wrestling history. That doesn't work for me, brother.
It's Hulk Hogan. He's the biggest power player of them all.
Yeah,
more powerful than Triple H, even though he's the fucking the son-in-law. But Hulk Hogan has way too much clout that he can surpass someone like Triple H. Did Triple H ever beat Hulk Hogan? He did, didn't he?
No, Hogan beat Triple H.
Hogan. Yeah. Wasn't it for the title?
Yes.
Yeah. It's these little things like that as well. You got Randy Orton when he was Legend Killer.
And Hogan beat him too.
Yeah, like you're not a Legend Killer anymore, are you? You know what I mean? Like you can only be a Legend Killer if you beat fucking Hulk Hogan, the Legend of Legends. You know. But anyway.
So it was Backlash 2002, I think it was. Or
yes.
where he fought Triple H, but. Yeah, I'd have to say NWO as well, because they whatever iteration, like they just always seem to be like the more threatening. DX seemed to lighten up. NWO just seemed to be threatening wherever they were. So,
More dudes. NWO's has a roster of fucking wrestlers in their faction, whilst DX is really like 4 or 5 guys.
Yep.
You know?
Do you think Vince is going to continue? Do you think Vince is going to continue doing the one night only of DXs, or I mean, how long do you think? How long do you think he's going to continue milking this cow?
As long as he's alive.
DX is done, man.
Not for runs, but for one night only runs is what he's talking about. Here, he's going to continue milking the one night onlys for as long as he lives.
You think
but it's really difficult for Triple H to be this rebel when he pretty much runs shit now in the WWE as one of the fucking CEOs. How's he going to be this rebel all of a sudden? I think it's really hard to sell that now. And what want Shawn Michaels to come back again? The guy's got to fucking do yoga every day just to keep himself fucking mobile.
It's going to be it's going to be a name only. That's just how I see it. Yeah,
like autograph signings and promos and. Oh, look at this dickhead doing a walk-in on us while we're cutting a promo. Let's pedigree him and super kick him at the same time. Yep. Like they did with Sandow and stuff like that. Okay, pass the parcel and fucking finishes. What I mean? Okay, who's walked in on us now? So yeah. All right, then. You want to wrap this up?
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. We are NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never fucking heard of. And I am DOZ. This is Hollywood Zam. And this is V-Man. Thank you all for watching. Peace.
Adios, amigos.